Okay. It is Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Town of Dudley Conservation Commission meeting is now in session. Members, state your name for the attendance record, please.
James Kepke.
Wesley Maraska.
Richard Anzalevich.
George Swingo.
Fran Mikolajczyk.
Okay, just to let the people know in the audience that this meeting is being recorded. All stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, first on the agenda is request for determination, Dudley Hill Road, sidewalk improvements, the town of Dudley. Good evening.
Is there a good place to put the board for?
Sure, it is good. Yep.
Yeah. I could even stay in front. Rick Canavan with Time Bond, wetland scientist representing the highway department.
Lucas Acaba, a wetland scientist at Time Bond.
Good evening.
Yes, this project is located at the intersection of Dudley Hill Road, Tanyard Road, and Airport Road, between the Dudley Hill Golf Club and Nichols College. And the purpose of the project is for pedestrian safety. The roads all intersect in a wide expanse of pavement, so the scope of the project would be to restrict the pavement areas to reduce turning radius and reduce the fast turns there to improve pedestrian safety, as well as an installation of a 5-foot sidewalk, crosswalk. Impacts are restricted just to the roadway surface, which is within 100-foot buffer zone to an intermittent stream that runs through a culvert east of the Dudley Hill Golf Club parking lot, underneath the intersection, and outlets on the south. And then there's bordering vegetated wetlands to the west of that stream.
So in this, they're not replacing any culverts at this time with this intersection change?
No culverts replacements of this. So in total, impacts are up to 15,000 square feet in the 100-foot buffer zone. And 3,000 of that will include removal of roadway surface that'll be restored with loam and seed. So there's actually a reduction in impervious area with this project.
Matt, have you gone out there and seen this?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with the area. I don't have any issues with this at all.
Okay. Matt, does that culvert go across Nichols College baseball field?
Not that I recall. I don't think it's that one, Dickie.
No?
No. And they're not doing anything to the culverts anyway.
No, I was just curious, that's all.
Not particularly concerned. And the project's pretty basic.
Yeah. Yeah, they're narrowing the road up.
From a wetlands perspective, it's pretty basic.
Yep. Any abutters here? The Dudley Hill Road? Okay, Matt, what do you recommend?
Just a standard approval is fine.
Okay.
Negative determination number 3. Everything's with it. It actually pretty much meets the state's exemption criteria. It's just our bylaw would be kind of silent to it, so the RDA is definitely the way to go.
Okay.
And everything was mapped out really well, so I just don't see any problems with this. Pretty basic stuff.
Okay. Motion?
Make a motion, we close the public hearing.
It's just an RDA, it's a public hearing. It's not a public hearing, it's just an RDA.
Go on.
I make a motion that we issue negative determination number 3 for Dudley Hill Road sidewalk improvement.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to grant town of Dudley negative determination number 3 for the sidewalk improvements at Dudley Hill Road and Tan Yard Road. All those in favor? Aye, opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The signature sheets inside the folder.
Okay, next on the agenda is the continuation of a public hearing for a notice of intent for Hayden Pond Road, a Brian LeBrecq Living Trust. This is a continuation? I wasn't here for that meeting, or this is a continuation of public hearing?
It is.
Okay.
Because they had received you had received the engineered plan the day of the meeting.
Okay.
So it's-
Okay, is there anybody here from LeBrecq's? Okay,
I'm not
No.
from the Brex,
okay.
a mother.
So the LeBrecq's are not here? Wow.
Last time he appeared by way of Zoom. Maybe
what-
his computer's down.
He was here at Zoom? Is he,
Would you like me to go?
is he Zooming, is he on Zoom now?
No, but I can.
No, he's not.
No?
Did you want me to call his cell phone to see if he has done
Matt, what do you recommend?
Let's hold him in abeyance right now. Probably would ask or take her up in her offer to try to call a cell phone.
Yeah.
And then just go on to, we have, let's see, the other two hearings are gonna be continued because we don't have any DEP numbers.
Okay, well,
So that.
just one's gonna be discontinued because unless we received the number for the other one.
We did.
Did we?
Yes, but I don't know if any representatives are here for that.
Dudley Southbridge Road? Yep.
Okay, so we do have a representative here, Matt, so we will hear that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Then, move on to that one and come back to
Okay,
LeBrecq if he shows up.
okay,
You go call them.
yep. Okay, the third on the agenda is another public hearing continued for 128 Southbridge Road, lot number 2, Kebab Realty Corporation, but they've requested a continuance until our next meeting, which is, I believe, the
29th?
29th, Matt? Yep, 29th. So I will, want to make a motion to continue that public
Motion
hearing?
that we continue a public hearing for Kebab Realty Trust for 128 Southbridge Road, Lot 2, to the 29th of May. Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded to continue the public hearing for 128 Southbridge Road, lot number 2, Kebab Realty Corp. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous. All right, number 4 on the agenda would be Dudley Southbridge Road, lots 249-1 and 249-2, T. Ridden Builders Incorporated. Now, this is a public hearing. So the representative is here, so I'll open the public hearing for Southbridge Road, lots 249-1 and 249-2 at 6:13 PM. Good evening.
Good evening, I'm Kate O'Donnell from Tech, wetland scientist, on behalf of Teachers and Builders. The project is a residential subdivision. The existing property is about 4 acres in size, and will be subdivided into 2 lots, one northerly lot and one southerly lot, both about 2 acres each. The site contains a perennial stream on the west side of the property, as well as a vegetated wetland associated with that stream, and then additionally a vegetated wetland across Dudley Southbridge Road to the east of the site. The site contains an existing single-family house with a barn and garage and associated lawn and gravel driveway. So there's two separate site plans, one for each lot. The first page is the southerly lot, and the applicant's proposing to construct a single-family house. And you can see on the site plan here, the yellow is the 50-foot and 100-foot buffer zones here, and then the pink is the 100-foot and 200-foot inner and outer riparian zone of the riverfront. And so you can see in this middle section here, that's actually entirely outside of any jurisdictional area, and that's where the majority of this development on the southerly lot is proposed. So within the riverfront area, the only portions that are proposed are this area of grading right here and a proposed well. And then within the 100-foot buffer zone, there is that grading and then a portion of the proposed pool area, a portion of the house structure, a portion of the garage structure, a portion of the septic system, and then all the other associated development. And on the northern lot, bear with me. So on this next page, the northern lot, same situation, perennial stream on the west, vegetative wetlands on the east and west. The house structure itself is actually within the riverfront area on the north lot, but it is within the existing limit of the existing development. So the existing garage is closer to the stream than the proposed house structure. So all of that development is further away from the stream and wetland. And then all of the proposed activities on both the north and south lot are greater than 50 feet from that wetland boundary. And mostly within existing lawn and developed areas. I think that's everything. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to address those.
Matt, have you had a chance to go out there and look at these?
Yeah, I'm familiar with the lots. My question is, what's the total percentage impacts on the riverfront?
So this project is treated.
Unclear.
This project is treated as a riverfront area redevelopment because there's existing degraded
structure.
areas on the property that existed prior to 1996. And so there's specific requirements for redevelopment, which includes improving the property, which we're proposing, I forgot to mention this before, but we're also proposing a restoration area. There's an existing kind of trash and rubble pile that we're proposing to remove and revegetate that area. So that, along with moving all of the development further from the stream, and then we're actually reducing the total impervious area within the riverfront area, all of that constitutes an improvement. So there is no requirement for that 10% or 5,000 square feet. That would be if there was no existing degraded areas, and if it was treated under the general performance standards.
Okay, so you're reducing the actual amount of impervious or degraded area in the riverfront?
Correct.
Okay, so there's no, this is where this particular proposal is a little confusing for me. There's no increase at all in the riverfront itself.
No, there's a reduction.
Reduction.
Yep.
Okay. So, the DEP is talking about maybe considering a memorialization of the impacts in the riverfront? And I could see that if you were increasing.
Correct, and I also think it would make sense if it was an undeveloped property that we were proposing to develop, but because we're proposing redevelopment.
But you're decreasing.
You're decreasing. This has been, this redevelopment. I mean, it's,
It wouldn't really make sense to memorialize.
See, okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going crazy.
Yeah.
So,
could be.
thank you for reassuring me that I'm not losing my mind.
Well,
No
that's
problem.
Well, my opinion,
Yeah, I think it
I
would
know this
restrict
only
the
for
ability
clarification.
to further improve the lot if you did memorialize that, if they wanted to.
Honestly, okay.
Yep.
So honestly, in my opinion, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
I don't think the memorialization is necessary because under the redevelopment provisions of the riverfront,
That's what you do.
if you were increasing impervious surface, we'd have to be looking at mitigation. You know, 1-to-1, 2-to-1, depending on the circumstances of where and how much you're increasing this.
And she is doing some mitigation with that rubble pile.
Well, the mitigation is actually more of an improvement. She's reducing. If you were increasing degraded area or proposing increasing of degraded area in the riverfront, there's a whole separate set of standards here
You don't know that, Nancy.
that
No,
would
she said that.
apply. And memorializing it just doesn't make any sense. Not to me, anyway. Because, you know, say, for example, for the commission's standpoint, say, for example, you take the lot on the north side where they have the rubble pile.
Yep.
So say the total riverfront impacts pre-existing on there are at like 9%. So when you look at the existing degraded area, which would be decks, roof line, pavement, existing sheds that don't qualify as an exempt activity, and that comes to 9%, that means there's only 1% that they could go above. Now, if they were already, say, at 11% pre-existing, they don't get credit for that. They would have to take whatever the excess they're creating and then do a 2-to-1 mitigation on that. It's very weird how it works. So memorializing the riverfront in this case, because it's a pre-developed lot, doesn't make sense, because anytime they do anything in that lot, they're required to make a percentage ratio and a numerical accounting. Yeah, I'm sure our my colleague from Ecotech is following what I'm saying.
Yep.
So it just doesn't make any sense because the inventory is built into the law. So the numerical accounting is built into the law already. So adding that would be redundant or unnecessarily limited as far as the flexibility on a single-family homeowner. So I'm recommending that, you know, we grant the order standard because I think they've done a nice job in making sure that they've met the specs under the Wetland Protection Act and the bylaw. So I just needed that confirmation, which has been provided to me. So that's my take on it.
On the north property,
All of them, on both of them.
no, on the north property,
No,
are you using the existing well?
Sorry, what's your question? Are we using it?
On that one right there, are you using the existing well?
The existing well, let me see.
I don't see a location for a well.
I am not sure, hold on. I don't see a proposed well, so.
Because
I don't
the existing well is approximately about 50 feet closer to the river.
Where's the
Mhm.
It's down over here. I'm not sure if that figures into the calculations or not. Nah.
Where's the existing well on the north one? I don't see it.
I know the property very well.
Yeah, no, George, the well wouldn't count in the degraded area. Neither would
Okay.
a subsurface system.
Okay.
Neither would the septic system.
All right.
Because it's underground.
Yeah,
So you're gonna be using the existing well, so we don't,
yeah, I would assume, I'm not sure.
okay.
You can let us know that, though.
Sure, yeah, do you need me to find out?
You can just email Laura or something tomorrow, whatever, just,
Sure.
Yeah, 'cause
not that it's gonna matter.
If
you know.
not, we just wanna know where you're punching the well.
Okay, yeah, if we need to send you a revised plan, we could just request an amendment.
I don't have an issue with either one of them. I mean,
Oh, I see the well on the front one, I didn't see it on the second one.
they did a good job on them.
All right. Any neighbors?
Any abutters here to the lots on Southbridge Road? Yes, come forward, please, and sign in, state your name, please.
This one good? My name is Peter McDade, and I live at 4 Katy Lane. Just have a couple questions. So I'm right behind that property on 249, 242, lots 1 and 2. One, have we done any studies on the wildlife? Just because since construction started with clearing the land, I've had more rodents at my house than I have in the last 4.5 years living there. I don't know if it's due to that, but it definitely has increased over the last 6-7 months since you guys started clearing that out. And my other concern is I have 3 children at the top of the street. They get on a bus for school. Was there a traffic study done on how these 2 houses would affect the traffic? Because right now, 3 o'clock till probably 5, and then if I say 5:45 till 8:30 in the morning, some people treat that road as a absolute speedway. I get it's just, back road, no one can really protect it, but, adding 2 more houses on that corner, I feel like it'd be extremely dangerous.
So the traffic one, that's actually not, the Conservation Commission's jurisdiction, that would be more of a planning board,
Okay.
thing, but it's 2 single-family houses, so I would imagine it would be a few cars.
Yeah.
In terms of wildlife, we're right away 50 feet outside of the wetland boundary. That's providing ample wildlife habitat, and the majority of this project is located within existing lawn. Lawn doesn't provide wildlife habitat, so there's very minimal clearing required as part of the project. So.
Yeah, that's what I have for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt, any more questions?
All right, got another.
I'm just another abutter.
Oh, okay. I thought you were with him. I'm sorry.
Okay. How's it going?
How you doing?
I'm Brandon DiTullio. I am lot number 2, the owner of 2 Katy Lane. So, Pete and I, we're one of the largest ones to get our property line affected with the build and everything. Just a few questions. I see on, and again, I'm not an expert at looking at these, so I could be wrong. But the septic system, so that's my property line as it shows there. Yeah. How close roughly is that septic system gonna be to my property line? 23 feet, okay. Is that the Dudley town code? Like, is there a certain amount of footage that a septic tank has to be from a property line?
I don't think there's any restrictions, but that would be a zoning.
Okay,
15 feet.
15 feet,
but-
okay, perfect.
So the
Now,
people in the audience, we don't control septic systems, and
yeah, no,
and I happen to know that because I'm in the business, but
Yep.
I just want everybody here to know that.
okay, yeah, no, I'm just looking for some general answers.
that's okay.
And again, this might be a separate meeting, but let's say if there was an issue with the septic system, is there room to get in there to service it? Or is that gonna be something that, because like I said, that's my line right there, and 23 feet, I don't know if that's,
Yeah, I mean, they can access it from Dudley Southbridge Road right here.
okay, all right.
Right here.
Sounds good to me. Couple more things, like Pete said with the traffic pattern, that's a separate meeting. With the well, so there's gonna be 2 wells?
I'm not
Essentially?
sure about a well for
Is
the,
the-
there's
Well,
one on the north.
Yeah, I see the one well, I know there was already in question whether there's gonna be 2 or not, but, I used to live in Worcester, so I'm a newbie with the whole well and septic. But is there a chance that my water pressure is gonna be affected by this? Because it's a big property.
you know, and if they're drilling down for 2 wells, you know, that could potentially suck up a decent amount of water in the surrounding wells. You know, I got 3 kids, just like Pete, so, you know, we're using quite a bit of water. Is that a different meeting, or can anyone comment on that?
That's
Board of Health.
That's Board of Health, it's not
Board
our
of Health.
jurisdiction, you know.
Okay.
I think you asked them that question.
Okay, and then for the, so there's gonna be 2 septic systems on the property? There's an existing one, and there's gonna be a new one, or is that that wasn't answered?
I don't know if there's an existing one, but there's gonna be one on each lot.
Okay,
It's basically subdivided into 2 lots. So
Right. Oh, yeah,
each lot
yeah.
will have its own septic system, and apparently they're gonna be using the existing well on the north one to tie into the new house.
okay. So there's, you know, all the well pipes and everything are gonna stay within the property?
Yep.
Okay. And then where would we put in a request about the traffic study, or the traffic pattern?
That would be planning board.
Is that something, again, just asking, is that something like Pete and I would have to submit? Like, we want a
Pose that question
question?
to them.
I've only been in Dudley for 2 years, so I don't know how this
Town
works.
planner's here right now, I mean, he could probably, well, not here in this room.
We're having a meeting at 7, so he is in his office on the 3rd floor.
Okay, perfect.
His name's Bill Scanlon.
All right, is there any more information to follow? Are we gonna get anything else in the mail about this, or?
I'm only on the wetland side of things.
Okay. Is there gonna be another meeting on this with the building board, or is this gonna be it? This will be
As far
it?
as conservation goes,
So-
this is.
That's
That'll be it,
that's
yeah.
what they, okay.
Yeah.
All right, perfect, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any other butters here to lot 249-1 and 249-2 on Dudley Southbridge Road? Are there any more questions? Board members? Matt, anything from you?
No, I think basically on what I'm seeing here from our standpoint of standard order, we'll cover it.
Okay. Seeing no more butters, I'm going to close the public hearing at 6:32 PM.
I make a motion that we issue standard order conditions for lot 249-1.
Second.
Okay, what was your motion? I'm sorry.
Give a standard order conditions for Dudley Southbridge Road, lot 249-1.
Okay.
Do that one first.
There was a second, Franny seconded?
Yes.
Okay. So a motion is made and seconded to grant a standard order conditions to lot 249-1 Dudley Southbridge Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous. So that's one lot.
I make a motion that we issue a standard order conditions for Dudley Southbridge Road, 249-2.
Okay, motion is made and seconded to grant the standard order conditions for lot 249-2 for Dudley Southbridge Road. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous.
I'm sorry, who seconded that motion?
I did.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you guys, have a good night.
You too. Did you have any luck getting a hold of?
Yes, he's on.
Oh, he's on? Okay. So I'll... Okay, so this is a continuation of the public hearing for Hayden Pond Road, notice of intent for Brian Lebrec Living Trust. Mr. Lebrec, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you turn your camera on, please?
I tried, I can't. It won't let me turn it on.
What did she ask?
I have no idea.
His camera is off,
Oh,
but
okay.
he said he can't get it on, so.
Yeah, I tried turning it on and it doesn't give me access to turn it on from here, so.
Okay.
I'm going in my settings and I can't find the particular setting why this program can't access my camera. I don't know what you want to do, but
It's not a big deal.
It's not, we can do without it.
Okay.
I mean, we can't hear you, so.
Oh, hold on, start my video. Oh, no, it says unable. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yep, we got you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Matt?
All right, so this is the plan that was turned in. I examined the wetland delineation that was done by Goddard Consulting and the report that they submitted with the wetland delineation. And it was fine, it was accurate. We have floodplain here that's showing the lots in the floodplain. The existing erosion control is placed on here. Here is the 25-foot buffer on this lot. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. So here is the 25-foot buffer here. So everything within here is a no-touch zone. So my understanding based on past interactions from Mr. LeBrecq is that he wants to put like a gravel pad here to park his personal, not construction equipment, but like a personal vehicle or, but he can go into that a little bit more. So looking at this area here is the area that needs to be replanted. So you can see the tree stumps on what was taken out is shown here in the light brown.
How many trees were taken out there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 in the no-touch zone. Looks like you have probably about a half dozen more outside the no-touch zone. And these symbols right here are indicative of vegetation that's left. So my recommendation is to take this 25-foot zone. You've got some canopy left. The area does have good canopy value still. And essentially add a shrub layer within this zone to establish a vegetative buffer, which would satisfy the bylaw for restoration work.
Okay, now I got a question for you, Mr. Morrow. Do we have him restore this first before we go forward with, what else is he proposing on this lot?
I talked to Brian about that. Brian, can you talk about what you're proposing on the lot, please?
I just wanted to level it so that I could park jet ski trailers, jet skis, boats, trailers. That's pretty much the extent of the use of the lot.
Okay, so what I would do at this point, Mr. Chairman, my recommendation would be to have him go back to Mr. Callahan, who did a fine job on this drawing, and have Mr. Callahan draw in shrub plantings in here, and then do a specific box outline showing the exact grading outside of the 25-foot zone to show where he would want to put areas to park and to show conclusively that there wouldn't be any filling of floodplain.
Correct.
Because again, this here is floodplain. So
Because
essentially, this area back is gonna have to be replanted. And this small area basically right here is what he can use for parking. He just has to specify that more in his plans.
Because right now, that's not on the plan.
No, and Tim Callahan's drawn plans for us before in town. So he knows what we expect. And he knows what we'll be looking for as soon as, Mr. LeBrecq gives him the authorization, of course, to complete the drawing.
Okay. What is he proposing for plants or plantings in that 25-foot zone?
Well, these are gonna have to be shrubs.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to be shrubs. You want to establish a vegetative buffer and you want to establish a good shading for ground cover. If we plant trees in here, it's gonna take years for the canopy to come back. The shrub layer will make a good vegetative buffer. As you can see here, you've got flow basically that comes off the road. And I mean, it's not a steep slope, but the grading shows that it heads towards Hayden Pond. So you want a buffer to protect any sheet flow coming off of here going into Hayden Pond. And that's what a shrub layer would do.
Does he want to have access to this pond? from this property?
He didn't ask for access to the pond, but, you know, access is a relative term. For example, the commission basically does not allow the establishment of beaches.
Yep.
And Hayden Pond, I have to double check what the requirements would be statewide for a dock, for example. And that would be something for another day. He didn't propose that on here. He simply proposed a place to park his equipment.
Okay. So, are you saying that if he wants to park something here, let him go back to his engineer and put something on this plan that's gonna show us what he's proposing to do?
Right, we've got two issues right now with
All right.
what he's proposed. One, he has to replant what he cut down, you know, without an order that's currently under enforcement. And that's in this area right here, and you can see relative to the lot, it's a pretty good swath.
Yep.
So he's gonna have to, you know, draw that in, and in this area here, his words were he wanted to level an area out so he could park like his jet skis and, you know, boat tow trailers or whatever. Leveling it out would mean it would be a grading change. So Mr. Callahan would have to draw specifically what that was over here, what the elevations would be, and he would have to show that the existing elevations that are on here, the 97, 98, et cetera, aren't gonna be filled in, and that floodplain is gonna be filled in, because state basically won't, state and feds won't allow that.
Nope.
Not without compensation, and there's not enough room
Not
on this
enough room.
lot to compensate.
Okay, so to get,
I think he's close, but I mean,
Yeah.
there's still some debris that needs to be applied on this plan so we can write an order on it.
yep, and I agree with
And he
that.
knows where to replant. I've spoken to him about this.
Okay.
He's fully prepared to do that.
Okay. So I think if he wants to, I mean, is it his intention to go back to, well, I guess I'm gonna ask Mr. LaBrecca, is it your intention to go back to your engineer to put something on this plan to show what you're gonna use for a parking area?
Yes, I can do that. Now that I've got your input and feedback, this was our, you know, first time discussing this plan, so.
Okay.
I'll go back and, you know, give him what you're looking to gain here for information on the plan. And, you know, I'll have him update this and I'll resubmit it back to you for review.
Okay,
Yep, absolutely. And then, you know, Matt, you know, whatever shrubbery, if you want Tim and I to discuss the shrubbery and propose it on the plan, we can do that. I don't know how that works, but you know, that's something we could do.
Yeah, I discuss it with Mr. Callahan. If he has questions, he knows how to contact me.
Okay, will do.
You'd like to see that on the next plan.
Matt, a couple of the board members would like to see that put on the plan, what his proposed.
Well, that's why I'm recommending the continuance, so he can go back to the drawing board and have that put in the plan.
Okay,
Yeah.
obviously, there's a lot of abutters here. Come forward, please, state your name, sign in, please, and
My name's Jackie Valley, and I'm an abutter to Mr. LeBrec's property. And Mr. LeBrec has been using my property in order to go in and tear down everything on his. He was supposed to come today. I thought it said, landlorder obtain and submit a stamped engineering plan outlining intended activities and use of the land. And in the DEP filing, it said there were 16 trees. I don't know if Matt's gone over there to look or if any of you have gone to look. But I went over the other day, and there are 31 tree stumps that are larger than 6 inches.
Okay,
That's on my land and on his, and that's not counting the ones that he has under a great big white tarp that's been on the ground over there forever. So I have some real,
so what you're saying is there was 31 trees cut on just his property? Or
between his and mine.
is some of that your land that he cut the trees on?
Yes.
Okay. That's, just so you know, that is a civil matter between
I know,
parties.
I've been advised to
Yeah.
get a lawyer and to sue not only Mr. LeBrecq, but the town of Dudley. Because for 6 months, every time I came down to this conservation office and said, something's going, please, yeah, oh, there's a cease and desist on. Never once, everyone said they never even went to look at the property.
Who said that?
George said it at the meeting last month. He said, I never even went by. I didn't know that it wasn't being enforced. Someone else had called the police. The police said, we don't enforce the cease and desist orders.
Okay, so since I was there once, I wasn't at the last meeting here, so
I know.
everything that I'm hearing right now, I'm hearing tonight for the first time.
I understand.
When you say that this wasn't enforced, are you saying that Mr. LeBrecq did more work there after the enforcement order was on?
Of course he did.
Do you have,
I brought pictures to the last meeting
Okay.
of his backhoe in action. I brought pictures.
I'm gonna be a little specific here now, I guess.
Okay.
Were those pictures of his backhoe in action prior to the enforcement order or after the enforcement?
After.
Do you have dates on those pictures?
I do have, there aren't dates printed on the pictures that I submitted last month, but I do have them on my camera. Many of them were done in December, more in January.
Matt, do you know anything about that?
Yeah, there were a couple of instances that I was alerted to that Mr. LeBrecq was doing more work, and I contacted him and advised him he needed to stop until he came to the commission and started his hearing process like he's doing now.
I don't know, somehow I feel like, he must live a charmed life with a good old boys network here, because nobody holds him accountable for anything.
Well,
The other thing that I'd like to point out is that in a floodplain, he took all of his brush and pushed it right into that wetland. Did you see that, Matt? Did you go over there and look?
Yeah, I've been there a few times.
And he pushed it into the wetland, and that was okay?
No, it's not okay. This is the very reason why we're making him file and do an engineered plan for a restoration plan here. So this is all gonna have to be cleaned up and everything's gonna have to be properly accounted for in this plan. So there's still more work he's gotta go back to his engineer and have done on this plan. So before we issue any final orders on his cleanup, everything's gotta be documented on this plan.
Well, and has he said anything? Now, he's told me a couple of times, don't you worry about the damage I did on your property, I'm gonna fix it. Is there any plan to make that happen? Or do I need to get my lawyer?
Brian?
Well, I mean, I'll take a look at what you're specifically looking to do. If it's trees that need to be replanted, I'm open to, do the shrubbery initiative that I'm doing on my lot itself. And, the debris, there was already a bunch of debris that was pushed into the wet fields on your lot, Jackie. It looks like, years of dumping of leaves and and branches were already there when I, you know,
When you pushed them all out of your way.
they weren't in the way. I didn't push them. I didn't touch them. They were there for years of dumping there. So, I didn't do that. But, you know, if there's trees that were cut down, you need the shrubbery replaced. I mean, obviously, you know, I said I would do that, and I will do that.
Okay, just so everybody, again, knows, Jack and I just want to be kind of specific here. We are dealing with an issue on your property and an issue on his, but we can't.
He used my property in order to access his. And in the process, he used his backhoe going over and over and over.
But again, we have to
making
watch.
the gully,
Yeah,
making the gully.
We have to watch, I have to watch where our jurisdiction goes.
I understand that.
So, I hear what you're saying, but I want to have him, I want to have Mr. LeBrecq put on a plan what he is going to do specific to that lot. Now, if he's going to propose something on your lot, that's something that's going to have to be between you and him.
I want to block access through plantings that he won't just run over. I don't want my lot being used for his access.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's hard to understand.
No, it's not. I'm fully aware what you're trying to do there, but again, we can't overstep our bounds.
I understand, and the other two things that I don't know that anybody here has even given any thought to, the fact that this is a floodplain, and the other thing that this is zoned in an area that's R43. And it says in the paperwork on page 9 in your thing that they cannot use an R43 property, especially in a flood zone, for any kind of storage, for any kind of a parking facility. I took the page out so that I could read it specifically.
Exactly, you're talking a floodplain, which he has on his lot, which is what we want to see where he is going to put this so-called parking area. You can put anything in the floodplain, absolutely not.
Well, that whole piece is in the floodplain. I'm sorry, I can't. Here I am.
Matt,
In District Residential 43,
yep, 43,000 square feet for both.
they cannot be used for bulk storage, either indoor, outdoor, contractor, yard waste, or transportation. And he wants to go over there and on Small Hayden Pond park a trailer with 2 jet skis when the pond isn't big enough for a jet ski to go on it. And it gives the message. It gives the message. He has said he was not planning on putting them in the water, just storing them there so everybody else will think that. I feel like, you know, the system is being manipulated, to be perfectly honest with you.
We have to grant him the right to fix what he has damaged. Now, Matt, I got a question for you.
Go ahead. No. Oh, for Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Yeah, go ahead, Dickie.
The property that he has damaged on her the damage that he has caused on her property is, what I want to word this is obviously between her and him, but we have jurisdiction over that also, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
So is Mr. LeBrecq proposing a plan too to fix what he damaged on her property?
So in order for that to be put on a plan, he'd have to obtain her permission to go on the property, have the survey work done, and have the area where he, cleaned out, put on the plan.
Yep.
The part that's between the two of them is who's gonna wind up absorbing the liability. So, I mean, if you wanna get down to the nitty-gritty on the actual procedure, technically, we'd have to start enforcement action on
Hers.
On hers, and I don't want to recommend that.
She's doing it wrong.
Right. So they're going to have to work out the permissions on that. If he's indicated a willingness to make it right, then by all means, we should do that.
And that's between them two.
That is correct.
So she,
Basically, up yours, lady.
it's not that, we have to be very careful what we,
I understand.
and I feel for you, but again, Jack, we have a code to follow here, and we have to follow that.
I understand you have a code to follow.
I mean, he's gonna come back here with a plan for that lot.
Okay.
Whether this commission approves it or not, don't know what he's gonna come back with. We have to give him that opportunity to do that.
Okay.
I'm sure this meeting is gonna be continued again.
Yep.
You're probably gonna have to come back again, I'm sure, and I'm sure you're probably gonna
I'll
be here.
come back. This is just so wrong. It's been so wrong since day one. He takes down 31 trees, isn't held accountable for a darn thing because he's on the Economic Development Committee, whatever.
Yep. We know that, Jackie. It's, like I said, we have to do what we have to do here.
Thank you for hearing me out.
No, you're very welcome.
Anyone else? Joseph?
Joe Gadori. No, I don't live on the pond, but I have a lot on the north end of the Cottage Road side. I've been on the pond through family for my whole life, so I'm entirely familiar with it, very attached to the place. I was at the last meeting. And my understanding, based on what I had either heard or overheard, was that there were at least 3 or 4 different versions of what the intended use for the lot in question, Mr. LeBrecq's lot in question was. They were all conflicting. Didn't make any sense. None of them made any sense. They were all different. It stunk from square one. I thought it was really odd. So I got a copy of the original, what I think is properly called the application, as opposed to this piece. And the application said, clearly marked off in the little squares with X's, that the plan was for a residential building, which wasn't even one of the 3 or 4 things that I had heard it was going to be used for, which struck me as particularly odd because of the size of the lot, where it is, blah, blah, blah. And what was said on the record in the last meeting was, oh, that was a typo. And I said, well, that strikes me as odd because it's a typo that was made in 2 different places. So if you look at the original application, it specifically says residential building, and it says it on 2 different pages. And none of this matches. None of this is continuous. None of it makes sense. It's just.
So you're talking one of our forms?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is not. Those are generated through. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Okay, so there was a scrivener's error on the form. It was a genuine typo. 2 boxes were not unchecked. That shouldn't have been checked. That's been clarified with this commission. That was clarified with DEP. So the issue's been put to bed. In plain fact that we're making him come in do these plans, get a solid use of what's supposed to be on this plan, what he's proposing on this plan is the document that we need to concentrate at this point. The issue as far as what he had on his application is, it's already been resolved. What we're trying to do now is to pin down exactly what is being proposed for that property. And the best way to do that is to do it on the required plans.
Understood.
So that's what's bringing us to this point now.
Okay.
Okay.
Not to interrupt, so, may I speak again?
Yes, yeah, sure.
So, understood. Point well taken, Matt. But the point I was trying to make at this point is, if that typo was in fact a typo, and it's been put to bed and resolved, then I want to make sure that the new plan doesn't say residential building on it. And when this all eventually comes around and gets voted on, we don't end up with a situation where somebody says, okay, and, oh, by the way, the form still says residential building. So I want to make sure that the new, if it's properly called an application, which it may, if that's what it's properly called, that it has in fact been changed, and that it does in fact no longer say whatever the typo was, all right? So just get that cleared up. I mean, that's just not a vagary that we want to leave hanging around and find out after the fact, whoa.
I think Matt just said that was cleared up,
Yes.
between us and the DEP. So, like I said, whatever we do here, DEP knows the next day.
Okay, fine. So that's been fixed? That piece has been fixed? Okay,
Yep.
thank you. That was my principal area of concern. Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Anybody else? Hearing none, motion to continue?
I make a motion that we continue the public hearing to 5/29.
Second.
Okay, a motion was made and seconded to continue the public hearing for Hayden Pond Road, Mr. Brian LeBrecq Living Trust, to our May 29th meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous. See you back on the 29th?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bring coffee.
I know this is a tough task for you guys. I really appreciate the fact that I was in this turn.
Okay, next on the agenda is what time is the planning board meeting?
7 o'clock.
Oh boy. Okay, it's a notice of intent for lot 40 Lakeview Ave. Ivo DEP number 1460797. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing at 7:02 p.m. Yes.
Good evening, Hoffman Caris with Alpha Omega Engineering. I'm here with the owner of the property. Sorry, I didn't bring. So this is a very simple project. There are no trees to be cut. We're only adding a second floor, 8 by 23.
Yep.
It's open on the bottom and a deck out of that. There is no disturbance of the soil because it's going to be on Hill Creek field.
Yep.
So basically, we're not doing any soil disturbance. There is erosion control surrounding the whole property. It's a very simple addition, and that's all we're doing. There's nothing.
Yeah. Huh?
You have a plan?
Yeah. I went by there the other day. Matt sent me a thing on my phone with it. It's only, there's another one in the excavation. Here's. They're putting in piles. Yeah, well, I mean,
This is the one that, I don't know.
no. This isn't the one that, no.
I think he knows which one.
24.
Okay.
This is, all that he's doing here is he's putting piers in, and they're gonna put that little addition on.
Yes.
How you doing the piers?
It will be drilled like Cal 3 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Yep.
It's out of our 25-foot zone.
Yep.
Yes.
Erosion protection setup looks good. It's not in the floodplain. He's right, no vegetation. Standard order will cover this just fine.
Okay, any of your butters here to 40 Lakeview?
I'm in a butter, but I haven't seen the plan. Is there any way I can?
Sure, absolutely. Yep. You want to take, he's got his copy of it right there?
I just want to see it.
No, you're more than entitled.
The street right here, the driveway.
We're gonna leave here, we're gonna go down to your office to sign because we already voted on everything, which is just sign everything out of there so we can just, we'll do the minutes at the next meeting, all right, you know?
This is just a catch basin outside, but this is only 70 years. No major.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there any other abutters here? 40 Lakeview? Okay, I'll close the public hearing at 7:05 PM. Motion?
Make a motion that we issue a standard order of conditions for 40 Lakeview Ave.
Second. Motion was made and seconded to grant a standard order of conditions to 40 Lakeview Ave. All those in favor?
As per plan.
Aye, opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Motion to adjourn, or, right? Sure. Yep.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
Motion was made and seconded to adjourn at 7:06 PM. All those in favor? Aye. Aye, opposed? Unanimous. Okay, let's go down to the office.